This is one of those moments where there's really a lot of uncertainty, and I have pretty strong views here.
One of the greatest traders of all time, Steve Cohen. Seriously, this guy is a legend. He's infamous on Wall Street. He's one of the 100 wealthiest people on earth due to how often he wins investing and trading. Just issued a massive warning to stock market, crypto market, and Bitcoin investors in 2025. Steve Cohen turns bearish for the first time in years. Let's listen to this 2-minute clip, then I'll react.
This is one of those moments where there's really a lot of uncertainty, and I have pretty strong views here. When you take a brew of tariffs, I mean, tariffs cannot be positive, okay? I mean, it's a tax. And you can imagine tit for tat if the U.S. does something, implements a tax on somebody, somebody else is going to, perhaps raise the stakes and raise their tax back. So taxes are never positive. On top of that, we have slowing immigration, which means the labor force will not grow as rapidly as previous over the last, say, 5 years. And in addition, now you have Doge, right? And you know, wherever you lay on the Doge issue, I mean, that's austerity. And austerity, you know, when that money's been coursing through the economy over many years, and now potentially will be reduced or stopped in many ways, has got to be negative for the economy. So you have tariffs, I mean, I could see a situation where we think growth is going to slow to 1.5% from 2.5% in the second half, and yet the unemployment rate is actually going to go down, which because of slowing labor force. And so, I mean, there may be offsets in Doge, and that needs to be considered. But the reality is you've got a brew of sticky inflation, slowing growth, and austerity in the government. And so I'm actually pretty negative for the first time in a while. I don't think it's going to be a disaster, but I do think, given where investors lay, how committed they are to the markets today, that I think we're seeing a regime shift a little bit. And it may only last a year or so, but it's definitely a period where I think the best gains have been had, and it wouldn't surprise me to see a significant correction.
So this is one of the most successful investors/traders to date to come out publicly against the economy, or not against, but he's just saying, based on some of the obvious things, if you're asking him, does he think the economy will contract or grow over the next year? He's saying, obviously, it seems like it's going to contract. And really just think about what he said. U.S. growth is likely to slow in the second half of the year due to tariffs, tighter immigration laws, and government cost-cutting efforts. Those aren't really growth catalysts, they are contracting catalysts. Steve Cohen also predicts U.S. economic growth will slow to 1.5% from about 2% in the second half of this year. And while he's not saying new depression, new recession, he is saying he expects a significant correction and is negative on the economy, citing sticky inflation, slowing growth, and the possibility of tit-for-tat tariffs. I want to push back on this just a little in the sense that, yes, there is extreme fear right now in the market, but really that's because we don't really know how far Trump is going to push these tariffs, how much they're just a negotiating tactic, or is this the new normal? And will other countries also then make this the new normal? So this is just a big unknown right now, and things could change next month if we get new information. For example, breaking. Mexico is willing to raise tariffs on Chinese goods and buy more from the U.S. to avoid President Trump's 25% tariff. The Mexican president, Claudia S.'s administration plans to make this offer. So maybe this entire narrative changes or alters in 60 days. We don't know. I will share with you this. Innovation in crypto fundamentally is happening. Breaking. ONDO Finance partners with MasterCard. This is a signal. ONDO is not going away. In fact, looking at the metrics, ONDO's total value locked is skyrocketing. only a matter of time before price follows, and I would tend to agree, given enough time, TVL and partnerships with MasterCard, fundamentally good metric. As we see in the blue, TVL going up, price going down. That's called bullish divergence, I believe. Also, as we reported to you on X, link down below, give us a follow, the SEC declares meme coins legal. And actually, to be clear, they say meme coins are generally not considered securities under the US federal law and do not need to be registered with the SEC. This is huge for crypto. They're essentially saying, hey, meme coins, they're for fun. They don't really hold that much value, but they're not under our purview, and they're fine because we don't consider them securities. And again, breaking news, this just happened. The US judge tosses the SEC fraud suit against Hex founder Richard Hart, stating that they couldn't decide whether he defrauded investors of $12.1 million because the US lacked jurisdiction. And why this is significant to me is because while, of course, US judges are tossing out the Coinbase case and the Uniswap case, those are very well-respected companies in crypto. Hex, Richard Hart, I don't think I'm saying anything outrageous when I say he was always sort of on the fringe, creating his own altcoin, etc.
So it's very mind-warping and very weird to say that you could see each hex be worth $1 million. It's really weird. But then I look at the chart. And the chart literally is pointed to $1 million. And this is with like a conservative line.
The fact that they're tossing out this case, saying, hey, we don't know if we have jurisdiction, that's huge. That shows a new era in regulation in the US for crypto. In a direct quote about how they do not have jurisdiction, to the extent the complaint shows that Hart misappropriated investor funds through deceptive mixer transactions, those actions occurred entirely outside of the United States. And of course, Richard Hart responded saying, I appreciate it, Judge. And in summation, understanding all that, my general views on what's next for Bitcoin are the same. In my opinion, and please tell me if you agree with Steve Cohen, the guy that has a lot more money than me, but okay, let me start again. And in summation, understanding all that, my general views are as follows. I still believe, call me crazy, but I still believe Bitcoin is in a bull market. I mean, we are around $60,000 Bitcoin before the Trump presidency. We're at 80,000 now, 85,000. To me, this is a higher low. The only thing that would invalidate my point of view, and I would have to admit that I'm wrong, which I'm willing to do, is if Bitcoin dips below, I'd say 65, 62,000. You see, that's the end of the demand zone right there, $62,000 or lower, then I was wrong. But until then, the fundamentals of Bitcoin, the new regulatory era, and new fundamentals for crypto or new regulation, we're in a totally new paradigm. I also think the Bitcoin halving is not priced in. That supply shock is taking effect now. And maybe we look back in 3 months and be like, wow, this was the ultimate higher low. Bitcoin was still in a bull market, or maybe we trend lower the rest of the year. Time will tell. You give me your thoughts down below. And of course, when altcoin season is obviously prolonged. Risk assets, investing in those are prolonged in the short term due to uncertainty. Uncertainty gives us a risk-off environment, but this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. When Bitcoin dominance starts to decrease, that is when the most gains for altcoins will be made. Until then, Bitcoin dominance consolidates around the local highs. I'm rambling at this point. Guys, give me your thoughts on this down below. Like always, truly appreciate you. Give this video a like if you got value, and like always, see you tomorrow.